Well, hello, my name is Christopher Scott and I serve as a small groups pastor of a local church. And in this video, I want to give you a brief introduction to the book of Hosea, right? So in this video, I'm going to cover 6 basic things. I'm going to talk about the author of the book, the audience he was writing to, the date the book was written. I'm going to give you an outline of the book, a key verse, and a key theme of the book about Hosea. But before I do that, I want to give you a little historical overview and historical background to the minor prophets in general that will help Hosea have a little bit more context for you as you read it and study it and learn about it, right? So in the Old Testament, in the Bible, there are 5 major prophets, and then there are 12 minor prophets, right? And we call them major and minor because the major ones usually are longer as a general rule of thumb. They're not more important or more significant. They just have more content, right? As a general rule of thumb, not always exactly. So there's 5 major prophets, 12 minor prophets, and Hosea is the first of those 12 minor prophets, okay? And as you talk about the minor prophets, you need to understand the different kingdoms that existed during those times, right? So in 931, this guy named Rehoboam splits the kingdom of Israel to the north, making it Israel, and to the south, making it Judah, right? And so I got a video up there that will talk to you about King Rehoboam. You can learn a little bit more about that. And so 931, there's this northern kingdom called Israel, and their capital is Samaria, right? So Israel is in the north, their capital is Samaria, and in 722 BC, they get conquered by this nation called the Assyrians, right? The Assyrians come and they conquer Israel in 722 BC. And then later on, shortly after that, the nation of the Babylonians conquer the Assyrians, right? So then the Babylonians come to the southern kingdom, which is called Judah, which consists of 2 tribes, Judah and Benjamin. In the north, it consisted of 10 tribes. Israel in the north consisted of 10 tribes. Judah in the south consisted of 2 tribes, Judah and Benjamin. And so Judah's in the south, and they get conquered by the Babylonians in 586 BC, right? And before that, the Babylonians come in 605 BC, they come in 597 BC, and then finally in 586 BC, they really wipe them out and take them all back to Babylon, okay? But shortly after that, the Babylonians get conquered by the Persians, right? And so the Persians, King Cyrus, lets some of the Jewish believers return back to Jerusalem. They return back to the nation of Judah, right? And this happens in 538 BC under this guy named Zerubbabel. 538 BC, Zerubbabel takes some Jews back to Jerusalem. That's talked about in Ezra chapters 1 through 6. And then in 458 BC, Ezra returns back to Jerusalem and takes some more people there to restore order. And that's in Ezra chapters 7 through 12. That's talked about, chapters 7 through 10, sorry. And then Nehemiah goes back to Jerusalem from Persia in 444 BC, right? So that's a little historical background to the prophets to help you as you go through these. These minor prophets are sometimes difficult and it's hard to find a good context. That will put it in a little bit of context for you. And I got it written out in the notes and the description down below here on YouTube. I write all that out for you so you can, print it out or whatever you might need to do. So let's talk about the guy named Hosea, right? In the minor prophetic book, Hosea, right? Hosea, we don't know a whole lot about him. It just says in chapter 1, verse 1 of the book of Hosea that this is Hosea, his prophecies. The Lord gave this message to Hosea, son of Beri, during the years when Uzziah, Johanan, Ahaz, Hezekiah were kings of Judah, and Jeroboam, son of Jehoash, was king of Israel, okay? And you notice there's a mention to Israel and Judah, the kings there, because there are 2 separate kingdoms. And because of that, we know, since both of these nations, these kingdoms are mentioned, we know Hosea is giving prophecies to the northern kingdom probably before the fall of the northern kingdom, obviously, right? So the author is Hosea. The audience that he's talking to is the northern kingdom of Israel, right? But sometimes he references Judah. So these prophecies have a wider application. They seem to be relevant to more people than just Israel in the north, maybe Judah in the south too. So probably some people in the south could have read them. They definitely were mentioned. Judah is mentioned. And you can read about the audience in 2 Chronicles chapters 26 through 32, talks about the time in which Hosea was giving these prophecies, right? But the years would be 760 BC to 720 BC is when Hosea was giving these prophecies to the northern kingdom of Israel, but also probably to the southern kingdom of Judah too. Okay, so that's the audience. The date of the events, like I mentioned, 760 to 720 BC, somewhere in there. Maybe more specifically, 752 to 724 BC. That's what C. Hassel Bullock in his introduction to the Old Testament talks about here. This is a great introduction to the Old Testament that gives more specific dates. So that's the date that's talked about there. It's 752 BC to 724 BC, or we can expand that a little bit, doesn't really matter. An outline for the book I'm taking from Warren Wiersbe. His commentary, Be Amazed, is a great commentary. He has a great outline for the book. He outlines it in 4 different areas. Chapters 1 through 3 talk about Israel's unfaithfulness described. Again, he's talking primarily to the Israelites in the northern kingdom, right? So Israel's unfaithfulness is described in chapters 1, 2, and 3. And this is given examples of Hosea, marrying Gomer and Gomer having children with other men. Then Israel's sins are denounced in chapters 4, 5, 6, and 7. Israel's sins are denounced, right? This talks about men who were sleeping with prostitutes. The people are worshiping other gods. So Israel's sins are denounced in chapters 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then chapters 8, 9, and 10, Israel's judgment is determined, right? They will be taken away to Assyria. They will be conquered by Assyria, and war will come, right? So the unfaithfulness is described, the sins are denounced by God, and then God determines that they will be judged in chapters 8, 9, and 10. And then the 4th section, Israel's restoration is declared, right? Chapters 11, 12, 13, and 14. God says he won't completely wipe out the nation of Israel. He's going to keep a small remnant. God will, watch over them and allow them to have some fellowship together again, right? Israel's restoration is declared in chapters 11, 12, 13, and 14. So that's an outline given by Warren Wiersbe. The key verse of the book, according to Warren Wiersbe, is Hosea chapter 2, verse 20, that says, God says, I will be faithful to you and make you mine, and you will finally know me as the Lord. And that's God's big idea here, is that he loves his nation of Israel. He wants to have fellowship with them. He wants to live with them. He wants his people to be obedient to him. And he uses Hosea and Gomer as ways to try to show them how they're being unfaithful and worshiping other idols and gods, and how that is causing conflict in their relationship. But God wants to be faithful to them, and he wants to have fellowship with them. And that's the key theme, right? Wiersbe says the key theme of the book of Hosea is devotion to the Lord is like faithfulness in marriage. Devotion to the Lord is like faithfulness in marriage. Idolatry is like adultery, right? Idolatry is like adultery, according to God. So that's a brief introduction to the minor prophet book, Hosea. It's a great book. It's 14 chapters. You can read it maybe in one sitting and get a good feel for it. There's some great resources out there to help you study this book on your own further if you want to read more. One that I really recommend, and I'll put links to all these books down there in the description of this video. They are affiliate links to Amazon, so if you go there, you can get these books on Amazon, but I do get a small affiliate commission. Just wanted to disclose that to you. So the Bible Knowledge Commentary, written by the professors at Dallas Theological Seminary, is a great resource. I can't show it to you because I have a digital copy in my Bible software, but the Bible Knowledge Commentary has some great introductions to the books of the Bible, including Hosea. Another book I really introduced to you earlier and that I really like is an Introduction to the Prophetic Books by C. Hassel Bullock, published by Moody. I also got a link down there. This is excellent with backgrounds and historical information. He'll explain to you some of the different views on the dates of the book and the background and things like that. Another one that I really recommend is the Warren Wiersbe commentary, Be Amazed, right? This covers 6 of the minor prophets in this little commentary. It's great for kind of walking you through verse by verse and explaining the passages to you. And additionally, lastly, if you don't have a good study Bible, you need to have a good study Bible, and I got some links down there that will cover a lot of the material I covered in this video. So thanks for watching. I hope this was helpful for you as you learn about the minor prophet book Hosea and read it on your own. Pray it is fruitful for you and that you grow in your faith by reading it. If you like this video, you can subscribe up there and get updates on future videos. If you want to study The minor prophets in a small group, I recommend the Wiersbe Bible Study series, Restoring an Attitude of Wonder and Worship. This covers the Book of Hosea and 5 other minor prophet books. I got a video about how to use this guide up there you can watch to learn how to use the guide in a small group or individual study. If you want to get other introductions to books of the Bible, I got a bunch of those videos over there. And if you're a small group facilitator, I got a bunch of facilitator tips over there. Thanks for watching, and I hope to catch you again soon on another video.